Okay, so do you remember, speaking personally, not about the history, your own personal, do you remember what you, when you found out? Because the revolution happened because, was it Haile Selassie was taken from the palace and walked to a car? What was for you the most memorable moment when you knew this was really happening?
It seems everything was quiet, after the Derg took the power, and you don't see anything. People are, goes to their work and do their businesses, as usual. But things happened, around the palace and everywhere, So I remember, what shocked us was, one day they have a chant on on radio, on the TV. So with that chant, whenever they have that chant, you know what is going on, they declared something, whatever, or demanded something, So we heard that, 60 prominent Ethiopian, the people who was in power, they were killed, and they said, 1 to 60, they mentioned their name, and that shocked everybody.
So this is like an announcement on the radio?
Yeah, on radio,
But what's a chant mean? Like an announcement?
Announcement, yeah.
Maybe explain that there were announcements on the radio. Like the government would do it, right? Not like here.
No, well, let me explain it to
Yeah.
you. So in the radio, they open some kind of music, different kind, different band or something like that, we don't know. But when you hear that, you see, something is gonna happen with that kind of music, Do you understand?
Yeah, so that meant that a government announcement was going to come?
Exactly. That, the Derg gonna announce something, So with that announcement comes, those 60 people who fought for our country and who had been there for a long time, they were killed without any due process, That makes, everybody shocked, from young to old, no matter what class you are, that's not the right way. We need a change, but the change has to be, it has to take due process, So that shocked us at the time.
And my understanding is, but when the revolution started and Haile Selassie lost power, it was not violent. Like, he was allowed to walk to his car and he was not killed.
Yeah, once, what happened was, at the time, there was only a student movement, and it is only movement. There wasn't any organized body or as a party, As a party, they are not organized, and it is early, the early discussion. It was a discussion time, I believe, that for them. So there wasn't any like liberal party or Democrat party, whatever, there wasn't at the time. So the only organized group was the military, So the military had the power, the military had the gun, and that is why, when they come to this position, So at first they said, that is temporary. It's not going to be permanent. We're going to go back to our, barracks after the country settled, after we changed some of the system, after I don't know what to say.
Like order?
Yeah, after if the country get some in order. We have to keep peace and stability in the cities. So we have to do that, and then people who is responsible to do that kind of job has to come in power. That was the agreement at first. So even my country has a lot of people who can take those positions at the time. Even after the king deposed, there are people but the military said after they make some stability in the city, they will go back to to where they belong.
What did the term derg mean?
Derg mean a group of militaries, about 120 people. They form the first derg, so from upper class to lower class, of military. So that is derg. And so those dergs, like they said, they didn't go back to their place. They stay in power. They control everything, and everything becoming tougher and tougher. So then they put the king to prison, and they killed everybody in their face. After they killed those 60 people, those 60 prominent Ethiopian, who been there for a long time, the prime minister, the ministers, the races, you can name it, the princes, they killed everybody, 60 people, the higher, military officials, during Haile Selassie time, So they killed all 60 of them, without any due process. So that shocked everybody.
And then during the lead up to the revolution, were you excited by the potential originally? Were you involved in, say, protesting for change?
When I was before the revolution, we were protested. I remember when I was in school, we went to university and to give our support, and but during the revolution, it seems different, and everything was controlled. So you have your opinion, and but you are not that very direct,
And who was Mengistu, and what happened when he came to power?
Mengistu is he's not higher officials like generals or anything, he's mid-level, officer. He came from eastern part of Ethiopia. He was working there, he's as a military, in that area, I believe. So when let me say it clear. When they formed Derg, from everywhere in the military, they send, people. So they send, they vote and they send to form a Derg, Those 60 people, 60 militaries form a Derg, Mengistu was one of them, Yeah.
And then how did he come to power? Do you know?
He wasn't a higher official, and there was General Amanamdom, and there are another generals, there are another colonels, I don't know what to call it in English, and they have, they have fighting. First, General Aman Amdum was the head of this Derg, the head of Derg, and Then they executed him, after a while, He wasn't agree with what they said, with the Dirk, and he has some kind of idea. So they they I'm thinking, how did it happen?
It's also more important because I already have a professor who's an expert in history telling me all the dates, and so it's more important that from your perspective when you were a young girl, how that or how you found out that.
So General Aman Amdom was, the head of the Derg at first. He was. They make him their head, but one time, they want to. I don't know what to say. They surrounded his house, and they want to capture him. Yeah, they want to capture him, but he said no. There was a big fight, and so finally they killed him, or he killed himself. That happened. Then there was another. What was that guy name? I forget his name. It was another general,
Okay.
What is his name?
You can just say another general. Okay.
Yeah. There was another general, and he became the head, the first person, and the second person is. If I forget the name, and Mengistu was the third person,
Okay.
even he's not the first. So they have, this power struggle between them. And first they killed the first one, and Mengistu killed the second one, and then he became the one. Yeah.
So he killed his way to the top.
Yeah. He just, killed everybody, and he became, the one.
So do you remember what it felt like for you when Mengistu became in charge of the country?
Once they killed the 60 people, it was fear in the country. Everybody fear, we are expecting the unknown. We don't know what is going on. We don't know what the next, thing to come. So we have to wait and see, So we are not excited or anything about Mengistu being there. The student movement, all those things are happen for a long time, and they didn't ask for Mengistu. They asked for better government and democratic government. They weren't expected, the military government to be in power. But the military was the one who has, the gun. So everybody you walk, there is a military car with a gun, and with machine guns, So.
And what was he like? Did you see him on TV or did you see him on the radio?
Yeah, he's an ordinary person, I saw him on TV, and he's just a guy.
Not like charisma or anything?
No.
Because he gave long speeches, right?
I remember he gave one speech, about red terror, He said he's gonna kill everybody, And he just poured red wine, from his bottle, He said, we're gonna do this red terror.
So this is a famous speech, and I saw a video where he takes a bottle filled with red
Yeah,
and he holds it up and smashes it.
yeah.
Is that the speech?
That was the speech, you know.
Can you tell me what that looked like?
Yeah. It was a big. I don't know. It was Mayday. It is some kind of a big, you know, thing going on, you know, and you have to go out for that, you know, celebration, or it's not celebration, you know. You have to go out, you know.
Were you there?
Huh?
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But we heard that, you know. I heard that, and he said, in a big stadium, a lot of thousand, you know, people there, you know. He said he smashed his a bottle of wine, and he said we're gonna have a war with EPRP. So he declared there, you know, he gonna have, you know, great terror.
And do you remember what that felt like when you must have had lots of friends who were EPRP. Were you involved with the EPRP, and what did it feel like?
It's not being involved with being EPRP, but everybody young at the time was scared, you know. We are scared, you know. There was an unknown, you know, and even before that, let me say it, you know.
Sure.
The declaration of the Red Terror is, you know, late in 1977, you know. In 1977, there was between, you know, 1974 and 1970 is about 3 years, you know. So many things going on in that country, you know. So you walk in fear. By that time, you know, there was this, what do you say, Kabale?
You can say Kabeli or community center.
Yeah.
You can say Kabeli.
The cities, you know, it was organized with community centers, you know. Those community centers has, you know, elected people. Anyone can elect it, but you have to be, you know, a supporter of the Dirk. Yeah, the Dirk. And you have to be elected, and they control, you know, what is going on in that neighborhood, you know, So everything was tough, you know. I remember, you know, you have to go to meeting, and everything is, the Derg said, you know, they said, you know, they become socialism, you know. Just, you know, literally they said they declared socialism, you know. So they said from now on we're gonna be socialist, yeah.
So going back to the Kabeli, I'd love to help to understand before the Red Terror, because I think you're right. We need to understand this first. So I'll tell you kind of what I understand, and then you'll explain correctly. So my understanding is, in the beginning, the Derg reorganized the cities with Keftenya, which were districts, and Kabelis, which are neighborhoods. And every neighborhood had a Kabeli building, community center. But that was originally to serve the people. Is that right? To help distribute resources, distribute...
Let me say this. When the Mason decided to work with the Derg, to tie the political situation to socialism, when they do that, they have an idea. They bring with them an idea. Dirk doesn't know what socialism means, but those educated people like me, Ason, and EPRP, they know what socialism means, and so that was, their ideas, so to control and divide and to be stable, the Derg has to go through socialism, that is the Mason ideas, so Derg took it, he doesn't have, Derg didn't have any idea, so they are, militaries, so they have few educated people in Europe, in North America, so he has to follow them, so principally. So they declared this socialism. They said socialism is gonna be, good for Ethiopia. And
it sounds like socialism would be more like the values of the students too.
No, not at the time. Oh. The value of the student was, for a better life. They need better life, for their parents. They need better life, for the country, and they ask, for distribution of land, for the people who use the land, and the land was grabbed by few people, but they said, Ethiopia is, a feudal country. The means of income is farming, for 98% of the people. If they farm, they have to get, land, that is the right question, and they ask for democracy, and they ask for equal pay for women, and a standard of living, and but they didn't demand, socialism to come. Okay. Yeah.
So tell me about then. The Derg reorganized the cities.
Yeah, Derg, with the help of those, people, and they organized the city. They divided Addis Ababa at the time in 25.
You can say Kaftanya and then say districts, so
yeah,
translated.
They divided Addis Ababa in 25 Kaftanya districts.
Sorry, one more time when I'm not talking, because I was talking over you.
Yeah. The Derg, divided the Addis Ababa divided in 25, Kaftanyas. Districts, and those districts, those Kaftanyas has, 25 Kaftanyas has about 250 or something Kabalis, neighborhood. So they organized the Addis area like that, so it is different system. It was run by the, people elected from the neighborhood.
And then each Kabeli had a Kabeli building?
Yeah, each Kabeli has a Kabeli building, and the Kaftanya has a Kaftanya, the district has its own one, and mostly that means they have a prison in it, Yeah, a prison in it.
But backing up just to explain, so every Kabeli has a Kabeli building, which initially served like a community center. Because we need to understand that first, I think.
Okay.
Because just so we American hears Kabeli building equals community center.
Yeah, mostly, they said, to serve the people, they need to have, a center, community center. That when they, the Kabeli is formed. You can go to Gabale, you can buy, some kind of sugar, coffee, or something. It serves like that, and then it changes it through time. It help, it changes and it becomes, a prison too. And hold on, let me think.
One second. This is great.